few others from yesterday. From back in, I witnessed two things on Radio Row last year. One, Joe Montana stopped at our booth when I had my good friend Chuck Liddell on.
Yep.
And the other was when Chuck Liddell kind of attacked somebody from behind.
You know what? Chuck is always good for that. And I know now that whenever I'm in a public space and I know that MMA fighters could be there, I'm tucked away because I know that Chuck could be coming up behind me. And so let me tell you, the first time we met, he did that to me in the club at the Pro Bowl. And we squared up, playing, jokingly.
Right.
Jokingly, we squared up.
But people don't know that.
And people don't know that. Oh, all the security is kind of looking at us like we ain't breaking up this fight. And so we kind of, tussled around the pummel. We ended up falling over a chair, laughing. We were on the ground in the middle of the club. My first year at my rookie Pro Bowl. And went there with bawling, laughing, crying, laughing. Obviously, we were going to get drinks after that. So it was good.
And I thought of that because we were walking out. We were getting ready to go to lunch.
Yeah.
And then I saw him go and grab you and figured that you knew each other, but you don't know that it's him grabbing you from behind, right? So I was a little concerned at first, and then, all the laughter and stuff.
Well, because your first reaction is like, someone got a hell of a grip.
Right.
But it's not like... This isn't the regular grip. This is the grip of somebody who can cause some damage, right? And you turn around like, oh, who's that? And, when you turn around and see it's Chuck Liddell, then you just...
all's good.
Yeah, all is good.
Whatever happens is good. The only other one, I went to see Larry the Cable Guy about 2 weeks ago. And
he was probably the first one before, I would say before Conor, that was recognized. You knew that mohawk when he walked in. It was like, okay, that's the Iceman. And now to see where the sport has gone and kind of cross paths over different, sports where they're just iconic now.
Well, and I would say, a lot of football players, it's hard to recognize them in real life. I mean, even here at Media Row, the helmet, the shield, the blacked out lenses. I mean, so, I think MMA has the potential of being more recognizable globally because it's so raw. You see their tattoos, you see their body, their structure, no helmet on. So I think it has the potential to eventually be maybe number one in the world.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And also, too, with MMA and just combat sports in general, it's a global sport, right? And, they're watching it in China, they're watching it in South America, they're watching it in Central America, they're watching MMA and fights everywhere. And even our last fight we had for Lights Out Extreme Fighting, we were shown in France and Spain. I had fighters from Spain in my DMs. Or, I'm like, first of all, I don't know. They don't watch football over there. They probably don't know who I am, but they know me from MMA.
Talk about that transition. How did it go? A lot of NFL players, a lot of other, sports athletes love the sport, but they don't get into it.
Yeah.
Some have started to do a little training. We have Chris Hovan now training a little bit in Tampa. But how did you transfer it over and now having your own promotion?
Well, the funny part was I got into it back in 2005, 2006 during the off season. So I grew up in Prince George's County, Maryland, in the DMV, where there's a lot of boxers, right? They were championship boxers. I remember growing up, we would have championship boxers in my neighborhood just coming to hang out. And so in 2005, Jay Glazer over at Fox Sports said, hey, I know you box, but have you ever done any MMA? I think it'll help you out doing some football stuff. And I said, okay, cool. Whatever help football, drop me an address. I'll be there. He sent me an address. I show up the next day. I walk into a gym. Jay Glazer's leverage and body control, opening your hips, those type of things. And every year I just started to train with Chuck and Tito and some of the best in the sport. In 2018, I launched Lights Out Extreme Fighting. And that came from really not only just having the love and the passion of the sport, but also understanding production, because I've been in TV also for a very long time, and NFL Network and Fox Sports and all these networks doing football, so I knew how TV works. And so that transition was easier for me than it would be for most other people.
I reached out to a friend of mine, Scott Yeager, and he wanted, first, he loves you. He loves you to death. And Scott said to bring up, was it a fencing against CM Punk?
Yeah.
What happened?
It was total BS. It was total. Look, so
honestly, that's what he said.
yeah. Oh no. There was. And the thing is, they had. So let me tell you how the whole thing started with CM, and we're good now. We're really.
Oh,
good.
I didn't know. Okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it was a thing behind it. We had a little spat back in like the mid to late 2000s or something like that, and I was in Costa Rica. WWE was having an event, and we was at the same hotel, and I noticed a couple people that I knew from WWE, and one of the divas there that was from San Diego. So I seen her. I said, "Oh, what are you guys doing out here?" And she said, "Well, we got a show, and let me know what y'all doing later on. I'll send you some tickets if you want to come." She left. Everything is good. Next thing I know, I looked down at my Twitter, and I'm trending. Right, so I'm like, what the hell is going on? Well, CM Punk goes to say I got dissed by a diva by the pool. And I'm like, dude, are you kidding me? I know her from San Diego, and I was planning on coming to the show tonight. And so I just went back at him and said he was in the phone. I went back, but it was a big deal. And then fast forward, I get a call from the Challenge on MTV, and they said, "Hey, we want you to be on." And I said, "The dates don't match up." So 2 weeks go by. I told them I couldn't do it. 2 weeks they called by with a better offer and a different date. They said, "Hey, could you do this date?" They just doubled the offer. They won't pay me. I said, "Sure." I got there, signed on. The first person I walk in when I check in was CM. I said, "Hold on."
Another setup.
I said, "Well, yeah, you got." There's a segment on there where I thought we were going to get some combat in, some kind of fighting or something, because there was a competition. It just happened the following week. So I got eliminated in this fencing game by CM, which just ate me up inside, right? So you're blindfolded, fencing. So the first person to get hit, you got 3 tries. And I still think I won, but, the replay showed I didn't. We're good now. CM, I think, in my opinion, is probably the ultimate villain of wrestling. He's like top 3 of all time.
I'm not even going to say of wrestling.
Yeah.
I think CM, Phil Brooks is the heel, in everything. He wasn't MMA. Nobody wanted him to succeed, which I was against. I mean, how can you hold back somebody who's trying something?
Right.
He didn't succeed at it, but at least he tried. He had the basketballs to attempt to fight a professional MMA fighter.
Yeah, and it's not easy, right? You're going from entertainment. I would never say wrestling's fake, because when I was training down at the performance, it's scripted, but nothing about that. I call it a sport because those guys are real athletes. And so for him getting in the cage from where he came from, I mean, that's, and he didn't go against a slouch. This guy, he was pretty. So
Just showing the text message.
So I give him credit for doing it and trying something else, even though he wasn't successful at it.
Absolutely. A lot of times, we all do. Certain songs are Country Boy is Matt Hughes. Nobody else can play that.
Right.
On and on and on. Well, Chris Lido goes by Lights Out. Should we fix that up?
What's his weight?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to do a bare knuckle thing.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters.
Yeah, no, it's apples and oranges.
So we talk about Phil Brooks. We know he comes from the WWE.
Yep.
Right? So he had a big platform. He had a big name. So it's into MMA promotion. How do you find your fighters at LXF?
Great team to facilitate everything. Great matchmakers, operations, production. I've brought in the best possible people, but also too, I know these gyms. I trained in 15 to 20 different gyms in the country, all the way from in Vegas to Lions out of San Diego, and a Body Shop in Long Beach and Black House. So I know these guys. They know me, and so what happens is, especially after the last viewership, the numbers we put up on football, now you have people in the DMs like, "Hey, I'm trying to get on card now." So it's been cool. And then too, if you talk to any former football player, the first thing they'll tell you is they don't miss the politics of football. They don't miss, feeling like crap and beat up, but they'll tell you that they miss the locker room. Right. Everyone will tell you they miss the locker room. And for me, it's been therapeutic because I love being around these men and women, like these MMA guys. I love it. When I train with them and I'm in there just to kind of stay in shape, but something might kick off over in the corner and I'm looking like, oh yeah, This is great. It's like me being back in the locker room.
Has anybody maybe known or maybe not known, just, hey, there's that big guy over there, I'm going to test him? Has anybody ever done that?
Well, there's been that, we've had open mats on Fridays, and I'll go in there just to get my workout in, and, somebody's feeling a little extra good that day. And so we'll get after it a while, but I also know I'm smart enough that if this guy's training for a fight, he is in tip-top shape. He's ready to go. I'm not. Right? And so I'll start to tame it down a little bit. But I've had some run-ins and body shots too. I've been in some brawl shots too.
Can you compare the team of an NFL team to the team in an MMA gym? I've been in NFL locker rooms. I know how close-knit it is. And then I know that my gym, my Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu team, can you compare the two?
It's very similar, man. It's very similar because the crazy thing is, MMA is a one-on-one sport in the cage, right? But your team is not necessarily in the cage fighting with you, but they are part of the process of you getting there and also doing that game plan. So without that, it's the same thing. It's if the guy makes a mistake and he gets coached by your coach drew up the perfect play, but you wasn't in the gap that drew up. Some of these guys have a game plan and don't stick to it and start doing uncharacteristic things. It's the same thing on the field. Guys, I can get a sack, I'm going to come in and see guys. I think I get that. Oop, it goes around. That wasn't a game plan. And there's a lot of similarities when you look at it like that.
Since we are on Radio Row for the Super Bowl, I guess we should ask a question or two about Sunday.
Sure.
Give me your thoughts.
Well, I didn't know where he was health-wise. And I've had that high ankle sprain before, and I walked around in a booth for a week and a half. There's no way in hell this guy. They'll get in my pocket, they'll use his legs. He won't be able to perform and throw a ball down the field. Not only against number 2 and number 3 wide receivers with his backup guys. And not only that, he iced the game with his legs at the end, right? Using his legs, get that first down in the game. The only thing I would say this week, he wasn't playing the best team in football. That's it. You're not going to beat Philadelphia Eagles with backup wide receiver. You're not going to be able to beat them running around with the legs. They're too fast. They have 9 or 10 guys that defensive line is constantly rotating. And let me tell you, for anybody out there listening that don't know, when you got a Hall of Fame or Pro Bowler coming off the bench, fresh, you're in trouble. And that's why they led the league in sacks, and that's why they led the league in pressures, turnovers, and those things, because those guys love to get after it, and they have no weaknesses on that defense side of the ball. There's not one guy you can point out and say, you know what, we're going to take advantage of that guy. They don't have that guy.
So Dana said Eagles, and Dana said, if I'm picking the Eagles, bet Kansas City, if he was sure he was going to lose. So you're saying Philly?
I'm saying Philly because I'm looking all the ways, as great as Patrick Mahomes is, as great as Travis Kelce is, there's only one thing that Travis Kelce can do to really hurt that team, that's work the middle of the field. Get isolated on the linebacker, get isolated on their strong safety. But they're so good, they don't need to switch and do anything else. They have a guy who can take on Travis Kelce. They have a defensive scheme who can live up to what they're trying to do, so there's no weaknesses on that defense.
So Sean Merriman says bet Kelce. Kelce will win on Sunday.
Yo, Travis.
No, I know.
I'll
just say there's 2.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so which Kelce? There you go, that's my bet.
That's your bet.
You never lose.
Bet Kelce. So before you leave, talk one more time about your promotion, Lights Out Extreme Fighting.
Yeah, Lights Out Extreme Fighting. We're now on Football Sports, Football TV, so if you don't have football, get it. We got a big fight coming up April 8th in Burbank. And we're going to announce the card next week. We'll be waiting for the couple guys to sign on right now. And we just went to that top 10 spot, most viewed on Football Sports ever from the last fight we had. But more importantly, just giving these guys an opportunity to be seen. We understand there's other bigger promotions and things like that, but there's so many fighters that don't have an opportunity to be seen. And they're trying to get out there. These guys have been training. We have amateur fights and we have pro fights. And we're working on it right now to get it all shown on football.
I've said for years that I believe this. I believe Jon Jones is the guy. Okay. With that said, I believe there's someone somewhere that, maybe he hasn't even fought yet.
Right.
Because he doesn't have that opportunity. He doesn't have.
Be real, man. No one's starting in the UFC as a right? You gotta come somewhere. path fight, and why not do it with Lights Out Street Fighting? Because we have a big platform. Also, I promote the hell out of guys. I mean, that's the funnest part for me. Being able to be here on this Radio Row and talking about MMA during the biggest game in the country, and that's been really cool for me.
I know we briefly talked about this 3 years ago. Let's do a weekly something, with your fighters. Let's get a fighter on. We do a weekly segment with the Ultimate Fighter and with Tough and this, that, the other. Let's do that with you as well.
Absolutely, we would love that. I would love to come on too as well. We can talk fighting all day. I enjoyed it. We talked 80% fight and 20% of the game just now. So that's good.
Deal's known for. I'm in the Buccaneer locker room every day, and they love. We're talking fights.
Right.
We're not talking about Sunday or last week. That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sean, thank you very much for your time again. We'll talk on Twitter probably tonight. I'll get your address. We're going to mail you a care package from 8 Man Strong, as well as a case from Blue Smoke Salsa out of West Virginia. That stuff out.
You got it, man. You guys are the best, man. Thanks for having me.
I think we happen to get about the mission belt too, so we're going to send you a belt.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Need that.
good stuff.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, let's go hit a break. Coming to you